Hey everybody, it's Sarah. I am doing my video presentation for week 4, and I am going to utilize this week to talk about the safety assignment. For my internship, I'm doing it at my place of employment. I work for Compass Health Network, and I am employed to do community support for adult mental health population. I basically do casework, but I do it within the community. So I wanted to talk about safety during home visits, not just specific to COVID, but at any given time. So the module 2 video that talks about safety goes over how even if you go on 600 home visits, only one of those visits may pose a safety concern, which is true. A lot of times we go on home visits and there's absolutely nothing that happens that is a safety concern, from the time you leave until you visit, until you return home. However, even if 1 out of 600 visits poses a safety concern, you need to be prepared. You need to have a plan. So it's important for me doing home visits as part of my job to be prepared for anything. In the video, in the Module 2 video, it talks about how a person went on a home visit and the police needed to be called, and it took the police a significant amount of time to get to the call. I think they said 40 or 45 minutes, and the police officer had mentioned how they get frequent calls from this residence, and so that's something that they didn't respond right away, I guess, to the call, or take it as serious as it should have been. So keeping that in mind, and also just keeping in mind that that really could be a situation working in a rural community where it takes a long time for emergency responders to show up, is important when making a plan of safety. So for me, before COVID, it's expected that we do 4 to 6 home visits per day. During COVID, since about late March of this year, we have only done about 4 to 6 home visits per week. And really, I appreciate doing this video because it has helped me to realize how nonchalant I have become in doing home visits this year, especially with the lowered number of visits that I'm doing per week. I'm so concerned with COVID and social distancing and making sure I put my mask on before I go to somebody's home, that really I have kind of put it on the back burner to think about people's pets, people's children. Is there an environmental safety concern? Am I really being prepared for if this client has, aggression or somebody else in the home? Also, I haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to driving safety now that it has become winter and we got our first really good snow yesterday. That's something that I've been paying more attention to. So I appreciate doing the video because it is helping me to remember how important it is to be prepared and to follow safety protocol. It's made me think what would I really do if something ever happened where things became unsafe. I know that my work phone, which is also my personal phone, has a GPS tracking device on it, and they do monitor where I am at consistently. There's an emergency button that you can push, and it sends first response right away, and it also sends an email out to all of the supervisors in my location that I had pushed the button. But other than that, I haven't had crisis intervention training in over a year, and I probably couldn't tell you honestly anything that I had learned during the training. You know, maybe some stuff would come back, like in that instance that it was happening, something about using people's body weight like against them, like trying to bring them closer to you and use their body weight rather than pushing them, like trying to get them away from you. You know, but really just as a refresher, I did log in to the crisis intervention website, and some things that they mention on the website is to keep valuables out of sight, keep a buffer zone, so make sure that like you know where all of the exits in a home are, and that you kind of are closer to the exit than the client. Dress professionally, have clear boundaries, set expectations. If you ever feel uncomfortable, just get up and leave. If you're uncomfortable with pets, ask the owners to put the pets away. If somebody's clearly intoxicated, it may be better to leave and reschedule the appointment, even if it's, you know, like if somebody's stoned, if somebody's drunk. Something else that my internship supervisor had mentioned to me during our last supervision was to be, and this was something I really wasn't working on, but to be really mindful of your presence outside of your work. So even when you're off the clock, if you go to Walmart, your social media account, if you're walking around the mall, the way that you present yourself generally in life, you know, your community sees that, and you might not think that, you know, you're working directly with a client, but it could be a client's mother, it could be, you know, it could be anybody. And so really, you know, being aware of that is something that could help in safety too. Like